I'm Karen with Art to Ride, and we had a question submitted to us about the use of a double bridle. So I'm going to go over some aspects of that with you right now. First of all, you have the Bridle and the curb. The curb should fit the horse's mouth, sometimes a low port, sometimes a higher port. And the Bridle should also always be higher than the curb, and you want to have that space in there. The other very important aspect is how tight you put the curb chain or how loose you put it. This has a little bit of a protector there, so the curb chain's not right next to his skin. But the proper adjustment is that when the curb is about at a 45-degree angle, it starts to activate on the chin and then thus on the bars of the mouth. Now, if you were to have this too tight, say tight like this, then the horse, any little bit of pressure, the horse is always feeling it, and it's way too powerful of an aid to have it this tight. You're not going to get the desired effect, and the horse is going to be very resentful. The other problem can be having it too loose. A lot of people feel guilty putting a curb bit in their mouth, so they leave them much too loose. But what happens is that you're not going to get the desired effect at all. If you had this too loose like this, see how far it has to go before it activates, and you create all kinds of the wrong pressure up here. So be careful to adjust it properly, because it needs to work correctly for why we're using it. So your curb rein, or your snaffle here, will affect the level of the horse's pole when you use the snaffle. The curb is to then teach the horse or ask for flexion of the jaw and the pole. See that right there? So some horses, especially rehab horses like this one, is that they learn to brace against the snaffle. So when you have contact, they push against it and hollow and go too high. So yes, that's why we follow our hands up with the snaffle if the horse raises his head, because you want to keep it in the corner of the mouth. That will get him to understand that there's no escaping that way, but it doesn't always necessarily translate into we want you to soften your jaw and your pole. So the curb we'll often use when we're retraining horses to teach them to soften at the jaw. That's what the bit is for. And then we can, once they learn that, and we can get them to understand that's what we're asking with the snaffle, then we can do away with the double bridle. So yes, it is used sometimes if a horse is a bolter or a horse that's a little bit out of control, but don't use it as a band-aid. Most horses, if they bolt and run, it's because they haven't learned to soften to the mouth, and they'll just throw their head up and stiffen to the reins. So it's not to be used as a band-aid, and really make sure you know how to use it, that you have a very independent seat and very independent hands, because it's a very harsh bit. Bits should be pretty simple. It's not necessarily the bit, it's how you use them. Yes, there are some bits out there that are made to be very torturous. This isn't used properly. You should never see, and unfortunately I have seen this, you tend to see it at the upper levels, is that the bit is always at full throttle, meaning it is as tight as it can get, and that's constant. That's not correct. The horse needs to get the relief of giving to the reins. That's his reward for softening. Otherwise you get a horse that's very hard in the hands, and you have to have a lot of strength to hold him in a position, and that's not what we're after at all. The other aspect about the curb with the chain is that when the horse holds his head in the correct position, a vertical position, this bit puts no pressure on him at all. There's no pressure on the bar, there's no pressure here. So sometimes we've even taken the curb rein off, just let the horse be ridden with the curb bit, and it will actually encourage him to get more in a proper frame, just because the weight of the bit and the fact the horse gets his relief by keeping his head on the vertical. So that's the couple of the biggest things about using the double bridle. The double bridle should just be a backup, the curb bit part. You're wanting to teach the horse to go mainly on the snaffle. And I'm really glad to see that the USDF has changed their rules, and the upper level horses can be ridden in a snaffle. It is a wonderful retraining device if you know how to use it properly. And it's only to help educate the horse, not force him into doing something for you that he isn't physically capable of doing. So I hope I've answered your questions there. And as we say, horse first.